The rehearsal dinner was at Meridian Club, all marble columns and champagne towers. I'd arrived in a Toyota Camry from Enterprise. My brother Marcus stood at the valet stand with his groomsmen, their matching Patek Philippe watches catching the evening light. "Jesus, Maya, couldn't you have Ubered?" Marcus said. "That thing is embarrassing." His best man, Todd something venture capital loud laugh, circled my rental. "This is what, a 2019? Does it even have leather seats?" I pulled my overnight bag from the trunk. The fabric was worn at the handles. I'd had it since college. "Maybe don't park it where people can see it," Marcus suggested. His voice had that helpful tone that made it worse. "There's overflow parking behind the kitchen." Our mother materialized in ivory silk. She looked at my car, then at me, then sighed in that particular way that managed to be both disappointed and unsurprised. "Darling, we talked about this," she said to Marcus, not to me. "I told you to send her money for something appropriate." "I offered," Marcus said. "She has too much pride." I wasn't prideful. I was deliberate. There's a difference. Inside, the private dining room smelled like truffle oil and quiet money. 50 people in designer clothes drinking wine that cost more than most people's car payments. I found my place card at table 7 near the kitchen doors. My brother's table was center stage, elevated slightly like a wedding cake topper. Dinner was 7 courses. Between the amuse-bouche and the first course, Marcus stood with a microphone. "I want to thank everyone for being here," he said. His voice carried that confident resonance of someone accustomed to being listened to. "Especially my colleagues from Hartwell and Associates. You've made me the man I am today." Applause. His managing partner, Richard Hartwell, raised his glass from table 3. "And of course my family." Marcus gestured toward our parents' table. "My incredible parents who taught me the value of ambition and excellence." More applause. He didn't gesture toward table 7. I ate my sea bass. It was perfectly cooked. I noted this the way I note everything, with attention without attachment. Between courses 4 and 5, Todd from Venture Capital leaned across 2 seats to address me. "So what do you do, Maya?" "Consulting," I said. "What kind?" "Investment advising. Portfolio management." He nodded, already losing interest. "Like at a bank?" "Independent." That meant. Not serious, not real, not worth asking about. Marcus appeared at my shoulder during dessert. He'd had exactly 3.5 glasses of wine, I'd counted. Enough to feel magnanimous, not enough to be sloppy. "Having fun?" he asked. "The food is excellent." "Yeah, Meridian doesn't mess around." He sat in the empty chair beside me. "Listen about the car thing earlier. I wasn't trying to be a dick." "I know. It's just, this crowd, you know? Image matters. First impressions." "I understand. Do you?" He leaned closer. His cologne was something expensive. "Because sometimes I wonder if you get how the world actually works. It's not just about being smart or working hard. It's about presentation. Presence. Looking the part." I set down my fork. The dessert was a deconstructed tiramisu. I'd eaten exactly half. "You're right," I said. He blinked. He'd been prepared for an argument. "I am. Absolutely. Image is important." "Well, good." He stood slightly off balance. "Good. I'm glad we're on the same page." I wasn't on his page. I wasn't even reading his book. After dinner, people moved to the terrace for cigars and digests. I walked to the parking lot instead. The night air was sharp, cold enough to see my breath. The rental car sat exactly where I'd left it, unremarkable among the Mercedes and Teslas. I sat in the driver's seat and pulled out my phone. 17 unread emails. 3 required immediate attention. The first was from Richard Hartwell, managing partner of Hartwell and Associates. Subject line, urgent, partnership structure question. I'd been expecting it. 6 years ago, I'd bought into Hartwell and Associates as a silent partner. 40% equity, $2.8 million investment, complete anonymity. The firm was bleeding cash, 2 quarters from bankruptcy, desperate for capital. I'd restructured their debt, renegotiated their client contracts, and rebuilt their investment strategy from the ground up. They never asked my name. I never offered it. The paperwork listed me as M. Chin Private Investment LLC. My brother Marcus joined the firm 4 years ago as a junior partner. He told everyone at family dinners about his meteoric rise. His talent. His deals. His 7-figure bonuses. He had no idea where the money actually came from. No idea that every promotion he received was because I'd insisted on merit-based advancement in my partnership agreement. No idea that the firm's turnaround, the one he loved bragging about, was my turnaround. I opened Richard's email. Maya, I hope this message finds you well. I've just been informed by our general counsel that you are M. Chin. I don't know how I didn't put this together earlier. Your brother is getting married tomorrow. I assume you're attending. We need to discuss the partnership review clause. Please call me at your earliest convenience. This is urgent. Richard. The partnership agreement included a standard morality clause. Any partner engaging in conduct detrimental to the firm's reputation could trigger a review. It was boilerplate language I'd insisted on. I'd written it specifically to be broad. I called Richard. He answered on the first ring. Why? Thank God. You got my email, I said. Your email. His voice was strained. You mean the one from 3 hours ago invoking the partnership review? Yes, I got your email. Then you understand the situation. I understand you're about to blow up your brother's career the night before his wedding. I'm invoking a standard partnership clause based on documented conduct. Silence. Then, what conduct? I pulled up my documentation folder. I'd been building it for 6 months, ever since Marcus started bringing his work stories to family dinners. Stories about how he'd handled difficult clients. How he'd managed challenging negotiations. How he'd closed deals through relationships and charm. I'd started investigating. Quietly. Carefully. Client steering, I said. Marcus has been directing clients toward investment vehicles that pay him undisclosed referral fees. 7 instances in the past 18 months. Total kickbacks, $340,000. Richard's breathing changed. I have documentation, I continued. Bank records. Email trails. Recorded phone conversations where he explains his system to other junior partners. Jesus Christ. It gets worse. He's been using firm resources for his wedding. Charging personal expenses to client entertainment accounts. The rehearsal dinner tonight? That's on Hartwell and Associates books as a client development event. How do you have all this? I'm a forensic accountant, Richard. It's what I do. Another silence, longer this time. What do you want? He finally asked. I want a full partnership review. I want an independent audit. And I want Marcus suspended pending the investigation. He's getting married tomorrow. That's not my problem. Why? This isn't personal, Richard. This is business. You told me yourself when I bought in. Integrity above all else. Those were your words. I could hear him rubbing his face, that particular sound of a man realizing his comfortable world is ending. The board will need to convene, he said. Emergency session. This will take weeks. I want him suspended tonight. Before the wedding. That's non-negotiable. My partnership agreement gives me review authority. Read Section 7, Subsection 4. I can demand immediate administrative leave for any partner under investigation. He knew I was right. I could hear him scrolling through the contract. This will destroy him, Richard said quietly. He destroyed himself. I'm just documenting it. I hung up and sat in the rental car watching my breath fog the windshield. My phone buzzed. Marcus, what the fuck did you do? I didn't answer. 3 more calls. Then a text. Richard just called me. You're insane. This is my wedding. I turned off my phone and drove to my hotel. Not the Fairmont where the wedding party was staying. That would have been awkward. I'd booked a Courtyard Marriott 3 miles away. Clean, quiet, unremarkable. The room smelled like industrial laundry detergent. I opened my laptop and created a spreadsheet. I called it the Ghost Ledger. The Ghost Ledger, Emotional Costs. Event. My college graduation 2015. Family attendance. Parents arrived late, left early for Marcus's networking dinner. Cost. Validation never recoverable. Running balance. -1. Event. My CPA announcement 2016. Family reaction. That's nice. 43 seconds of attention. versus Marcus's job offer, 40-minute dinner conversation. Cost. Pride permanently devalued. Running balance. -2. Event. My first major client 2017. I tried to share the news at Sunday dinner. Mom interrupted to ask about Marcus's promotion. Cost. Achievement made invisible. Running balance. -3. Event. Grandmother's funeral 2018. Marcus gave the eulogy. He spoke for 12 minutes about her pride in his career. My name wasn't mentioned once. Cost. Memory rewritten without me. Running balance. -4. Event. Family Christmas 2019 to 2024, 6 years. Marcus spent an average of 4 hours per holiday discussing his deals, his clients, his bonuses. Questions asked about my work. 0. Cost. Existence questioned annually. Running balance. -10. Event. My promotion to senior consultant 2022. I mentioned it at dinner. Dad said, "That's good," and asked Marcus about his vacation plans. Cost. Effort deemed unworthy of conversation. Running balance. -11. Event. Father's 65th birthday 2023. Dad's speech. Marcus makes me so proud every single day. I was sitting 3 feet away. Cost. Worthiness publicly denied. Running balance. -12. Event. Tonight's rehearsal dinner 2025. You can't afford this level of success. Cost. Dignity the last piece I had left. Final balance. -13. I stared at the numbers until they blurred. There's a concept in psychology called the gambler's fallacy. The belief that if you keep feeding coins into a slot machine, eventually it will pay out. That your luck will turn. That the next pull will be the one. I'd been feeding the slot machine of family for 12 years. Coins labeled, maybe next time, and if I'm just patient, and eventually they'll notice me. Each achievement I earned was another coin dropped into the machine. Each time I stayed quiet while Marcus took center stage was another pull of the lever. The machine never paid out. It wasn't designed to. The moment I decided to stop feeding it happened 3 months ago. Not tonight at the rehearsal dinner. That was just the catalyst. The actual decision came on a Tuesday in April. I was at my parents' house for lunch. Marcus called during the meal, excited about closing a major deal. My mother put him on speaker. For 22 minutes, we listened to him describe every detail of his triumph. His negotiation tactics. His brilliant insights. His client's gratitude. When he finished, my mother said, "We're so proud of you, darling." Then she turned to me and said, "Maya, could you help me clear the dishes?" Not, "Maya, how's your work going?" Not, "Maya, anything new with you?" Just, "Clear the dishes." That's when I understood. Not with anger or hurt. Those emotions had been worn smooth by repetition. I understood with the cold clarity of someone finally reading data correctly. I wasn't a gambler waiting for a payout. I was the bank. I'd always been the bank. And banks don't wait for gamblers to acknowledge them. Banks close the account. My phone lit up with notifications. I turned it back on. 23 missed calls. 57 text messages. Marcus, call me right now. Mom, what have you done to your brother? Marcus, this is my wedding. Dad, this is incredibly selfish behavior. Marcus, I can't believe you would do this to me. Mom, I'm ashamed of you. Marcus, you're dead to me. And then from Richard Hartwell. The board has convened for an emergency session. We've reviewed your documentation. Marcus is suspended effective immediately pending a full investigation. We need to meet Monday morning. I owe you an apology. We should have caught this ourselves. I turned the phone face down and went to sleep. I slept better than I had in years. The next morning I checked out of the hotel at 6 a.m. The wedding was scheduled for 2 p.m. I wasn't going. I drove north instead toward the coast. By the time Marcus was supposed to be standing at the altar, I was standing on a beach in Cape Cod. The wind was sharp and cold. The waves reorganized themselves endlessly, relentlessly, without anyone's permission or approval. My phone rang 17 times that day. I didn't answer. The wedding was canceled. Not immediately, Marcus tried to proceed. But by noon the whispers had started. By 1 p.m. 3 groomsmen had backed out. By 1:30, the bride's father requested a private conversation. By 2 p.m. it was over. I heard about it later from Richard. The firm's clients had started asking questions Saturday morning. News travels fast in financial circles. By Sunday, Marcus's fiancée's family was demanding answers. Her father worked in private equity. He understood exactly what client steering meant. The engagement ended Monday. Over the next 6 weeks, the independent audit uncovered everything. Marcus had stolen $427,000 from the firm through various schemes. Undisclosed referral fees. Misappropriated client funds. Fraudulent expense reports. The rehearsal dinner was just one line item in a massive pattern of theft. He was terminated. His securities licenses were suspended. 3 clients filed formal complaints. The state bar opened an investigation. My parents called once during this period. My mother's voice was ice. "You've ruined his life," she said. "He ruined his own life," I replied. "I just stopped subsidizing it. You're his sister. And he's my brother." That didn't stop him from humiliating me in front of 50 people. "That's different." "How?" She had no answer. She hung up. We haven't spoken since. My father sent an email 2 weeks later. Subject line, reconciliation. The body of the email read, "Your mother and I think it's time to move past this. Marcus has learned his lesson. Family is family. We'd like you to come to dinner next Sunday." I read it 3 times. Then I deleted it. Family is family, that was always their answer. As if shared DNA was a free pass for cruelty. As if biology created an obligation to accept disrespect, dismissal, and erasure. But family isn't biology. It's behavior. And their behavior had been telling me for 12 years exactly how much I mattered. I finally listened. 8 months have passed. My savings account hit $4.2 million last week. Without the constant emotional drain of making myself small so Marcus could feel large. Without the exhausting performance of pretending not to notice being erased, my life expanded exponentially. I bought a house, a 3-bedroom craftsman with a garden and a view of the mountains. I adopted a dog, a rescue mutt named Murphy who follows me from room to room like he still can't believe his luck. Last month an envelope arrived from Marcus. Inside was a check for $50,000 and a note written in his precise handwriting. Partial payment toward what I owe the firm. I'll need time to pay the rest. I'm sorry for what I said at the rehearsal dinner. I'm sorry for a lot of things. I didn't cash the check. I didn't respond. Revenge isn't rage. It's not about destruction or spite. Revenge is patience sharpened into strategy. It's the quiet decision to stop feeding a slot machine that was never designed to pay out. It's closing an account that only accepted deposits, never withdrawals. The silence feels different now. It doesn't feel like punishment or loneliness. It feels like peace. I removed my parents from my emergency contacts. I blocked my brother's number. I deleted family group chats and unfollowed them on every platform. I erased every digital thread they could use to find me. The account is closed. The balance is 0. And I am finally in the black.